Yo, what is up guys? This is Pedro here, and in today's video I will be bringing guys a recap of day 6 of the Washington football team's training camp. Today was the first day with pads, so things got interesting. I'll be talking about some of the biggest takeaways from today's practice. I'll show you guys some highlights from today, and I'll also give you guys an injury update, and we'll talk about Ron Rivera's comments during his press conference. So if you guys are new, make sure to subscribe for Washington and NFL content. I'm trying to get to 6,000 subscribers. It would really mean a ton if you guys could help me get there. Also, go ahead and follow my Twitter. I'm also active on there. So let's get right into the video. So we will first start out with some highlights from today's practice. We got some from De'Ami Brown, Terry McLaurin, Ryan Fitzpatrick, some of the DBs, and much more. So let's get into it.
Take the other one, but I'm not gonna make that. Nice feet. Go! Nice, good. So go! Make a miss at the top. There you go, nice shot. You guys, jog it down. Gonna jog it down on the dunk. Say go!
Okay, so those were the highlights. Now let's go and talk about today's training camp. So like I said, first day of padded practice. So let's go through real quick an injury update. So Sammis Reyes did get injured during practice, kind of tweaked his knee, but was, I think, walking around and jogging around later. We'll see how he is, and, we'll get an update probably tomorrow or later this week on his status. Jonathan Allen and Kyle Allen remain day-to-day, and James Smith-Williams is dealing with a lower leg injury. Jamin Davis was back today, at least during individual drills, and I think he was back during 11v11, so that's good to hear, because he, this time is valuable time, so only missing one day is fine, but if he had to miss like a week or two, that would be a little bit concerning. Cornelius Lucas was back, so that's good. He was removed off the reserve list, and then Jonathan Allen was going through individual drills, but still, I think he is still dealing with that hamstring injury. And DeShazer Everett was back today, so that is good to hear. So guys are getting back from the list. I think Matt Ioannidis also was back today, but he's still on the reserve list. So now let's get into some big plays and kind of recap from today. So Sam Cosmi really had his first pretty good day today, and probably partly due to putting the pads on. Let's see, so I'll read this from Rhiannon Walker. She said Sam Cosmi had 2 nice reps working against Chase Young so far. Second rep, Young tried a bull rush and Cosmi was able to hold his position and eventually get him to the turf. So that is good to hear, because we know Chase Young's going to be fine. We know he's going to be a beast, but for Sam Cosmi to hold his own against Chase Young 2 reps in a row after the last week or so, he was getting worked by Chase Young and Montez Sweat, but now the pads are back on, and not only are the pads back on, or the pads are on, but also Cosmi's getting more and more reps, so he's getting more and more comfortable. So the first day with pads, Cosmi has looked good, so that is very good to hear. I think he's going to continue to progress, and you got to keep in mind he's going up against 2 of the best edge rushers in this league, so it is good to hear that he's looking good, because he was struggling a little bit early on, but that is to be expected, especially when you're going up against good talents like Chase Young and Montez Sweat. And when you are a little bit, Sam Cosmi is a raw prospect, so there's still things that he needs to work on in his technique. But it's good to hear that the first day with pads, he was able to hold his own and, actually win a couple reps against Chase Young. So that's good to hear. Also, Khalid Hudson is still making some plays. Had a nice play in coverage down the middle with Heineke throwing a pass to Hemingway. Hudson drops the pick, but a good play nonetheless. So it's good to hear that Hudson's having a really good camp, because I think he can be, a good player for this defense. He's going to probably play that Buffalo nickel along with some other players that I think can play that position too, like Cameron Curl, Landon Collins. I feel like they're all going to be rotating in and out of that big nickel / Buffalo nickel position. Hudson's been looking good in camp, so that's good to hear. One thing though, we need to start catching these interceptions. I mean, it's been Hudson, Cole Luke, a few others, I think Landon Collins as well. A bunch of these players are, in the secondary have drop picks, but it is good to hear they're making plays. But, we need it in the regular season. The difference between, pass breakups and interceptions are huge. So we need to turn those into turnovers so we can win that turnover battle, because we know Ron Rivera's record is very, very good when winning the turnover battle. So, another thing, Fitzpatrick had a pretty good day today, was building his connection, continuing to build his connection with tight end Logan Thomas. I feel like that's one of his, favorite targets. I'll read this right here from Rhiannon Walker. Make sure you guys go follow her on Twitter. Great, Washington football team insight. She said, Ryan Fitzpatrick looking and looking, climbs up the pocket and directs Logan Thomas to the left side of the end zone, throws up a jump ball, and Thomas goes up top and mosses William Jackson III for the score. Terry McLaurin comes over yelling, jump on him. So it's really nice to hear that Logan Thomas and Ryan Fitzpatrick are building good chemistry. Logan Thomas, we heard a bunch of great things from him last training camp with, him and Haskins, Kyle Allen, and others, about Logan Thomas was just getting a bunch of red zone touchdowns, and he got a couple today. So that is good to hear. We'll see. William Jackson, he hasn't been struggling big time, but I have been hearing a lot of, big plays happening against him. But, we'll see. I think he still, though, will be really solid for us this year. And he has had some big plays too. I think he had a pick six. Now let's kind of go play by play. We'll go, a few, talk about some big plays. So Benjamin St. Juste was working against De'Ami Brown, and he was able to punch the ball out away at the last second. So that's good to hear too. Steven Sims is, having a solid camp. Not amazing, but is having a solid training camp. But he's going to be competing against, guys like Dax Milne and DeAndre Carter. So those three are really going to be competing for, a last receiver spot, because I think if they keep 7, one of those three will make it. I think Kelvin Harmon and AGG are competing for the 6th wide receiver spot. So Daryl Roberts had an interception going up against Steven Sims. I do think Daryl Roberts will make the team, not only because he's had a good camp and he's been around the league for a while, but also he's got some positional versatility, position flex, so he's able to play a bunch of different spots in the secondary. So if someone's down, he can go pretty much play anywhere. Sadiq Charles and Wes Martin had a couple good reps. That's good to hear, at least with Sadiq Charles. I doubt Wes Martin makes the roster, but good to hear Sadiq Charles is looking pretty good. Charles Leno was, holding his own against Montez Sweat in the red zone drills, but I do believe Montez Sweat got a sack on Fitzpatrick or someone later on against Charles Leno. Troy Apke is, doing some, making some plays at cornerback. I'll read this right here. Looks like Wright was going to make a catch in the front corner of the end zone, but Apke came in and knocked the ball away. Feels like Apke has quietly been putting together a real solid camp. Here's the thing I'll say about Troy Apke. Yes, he could be having a good camp, and it is, nice that, he's looking good, and he's, learning a new position. But the thing is, last year, all we heard was Troy Apke was looking amazing in training camp, looked great, was going to be our starting safety, but also had a chance to have a really good year. But we all know what happened. I mean, we could tell from the first, possession or second possession of the game against the Eagles that old Troy Apke was back. So until I see it in a game, at least a preseason game, I'm not buying it too much. Logan Thomas had 2 red zone touchdowns. So like I said, they're building that chemistry. I mean, Fitzpatrick has his favorite targets. Terry McLaurin, Logan Thomas, and Adam Humphries. We'll see who else steps up. Lamar Miller continues to have some really solid runs in training camp. He has a chance, guys, to make the roster, because I feel like if Gibson does go down during the season, they need someone who can carry the ball 10, 15 plus times in a game, and I think Lamar Miller can do that. Let's see. Daniel Wise popped the ball away from Gibson, and Cole Luke recovered the fumble. And here, I'll read a couple more plays, and then we'll go to the press conference. So Jamin Davis made a really nice tackle on J.D. McKissick, so that's good to hear. Ryan Fitzpatrick had a really, really good throw to Tamarick Hemingway. So I think overall, Fitzpatrick had a pretty good day. I think he had one or two picks. I'm not sure exactly the number, but he did have an interception throwing to, Cameron Curl picked off a pass off of Ryan Fitzpatrick. But I did hear it looked like the receiver and Ryan Fitzpatrick weren't on the same page. So we really don't know whose fault it was, but good to hear Cameron Curl is looking good. So overall, pretty good day. No injuries besides Sammis Reyes. We'll see how that shakes out. Hopefully he's okay. Danny Johnson also had an interception in the end zone. He was also working with the kick returner, so he has a chance to make the roster as the last cornerback and a kick returner / punt returner. A few comments from today, from today's press conference. Ron Rivera says he's really encouraged by Sam Cosmi holding his own today with pads on, going against guys like Sweat and Young. Looked much more assertive today with more contact. Again, great to hear. Hopefully he can continue to stack days. This really doesn't have much to do with, training camp, but Rivera says that defensive backs coach Chris Harris had a number of opportunities for interviews this offseason. I think Chris Harris will get a defensive coordinator job next offseason. He's a really good, DB coach. It's going to suck to, have him go, but, I think he'll do a really good job wherever he ends up. Rivera talked about, the safety spot being really crowded, and yes, it is. I mean, Landon Collins, Cameron Curl, DeShazer Everett, Jeremy Reeves, Bobby McCain, I think I already said that, and Derek Forrest. So we'll see how many safeties they keep, because, all 6 of these safeties, if they were playing at this level, would have made the roster last year, but it's only going to, we're only going to be able to keep probably 5 at most. And Ron Rivera says he's not really concerned about Curtis Samuel missing time because he's already played in this offense before. So that's it for today's training camp recap. Let me know what you guys think about today's training camp. I'm excited Sam Cosmi's looking good. And same thing with Khalid Hudson. And, Terry's doing Terry things. And Logan Thomas is, him and Ryan Fitzpatrick are building some chemistry together. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit that like button. Subscribe if you guys are new. Share the video and turn on your notifications so you never miss a video. Peace, guys.